Today's video is sponsored by Native Sons Goods, makers of premium quality guitar, bag, and camera straps, handmade in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Check out their website to order your own custom creation and play in style. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it. Hey everybody, how's it going? Brad the Guitologist here. It is time for Shitpost Friday. Leading off here in Shitpost Friday, a couple weeks back I covered the story of Kurt Cobain's daughter and the whole ordeal where she's getting a divorce from this jackass. And I don't know if he's a jackass or not. He just looks like a jackass to me for some reason. But she's getting a divorce from him, and she ends up basically losing her dad's priceless guitar that he played on the MTV Unplugged show. Okay, well, apparently this story has legs, because now this guy, this jackass, has sued or brought charges. What does it say here? Either sued or brought charges. He's alleging, put it this way, that I guess it is a lawsuit. Is he suing him? I think he's suing him civilly, although it doesn't really say here. He is alleging that Courtney Love, in addition with this guy named Sam Lutfi, who is the former manager of Britney Spears, and this is also the guy, if you remember the time when Britney Spears like went crazy and shaved her head and like just and like she got the 1,000-yard stare for a little while, and you just wondered what the hell is up with her. Well, this guy was her manager at that time, so I don't know what kind of drugs he's peddling or what the deal is. I mean, anyway, she was clearly on something then. Courtney Love has always clearly been on something, it seems. And this guy seems to pop up anytime there is a damsel in distress, in need of some more craziness in their life. Anyway, so he's apparently suing Courtney Love and this guy named Ross Butler, private investigator and security expert John Nazarian, and musician Michael Shank. And this is being reported by Vanity Fair and other news as well, so it's pretty much everywhere, that these people tried to murder him and steal back the guitar. He says this group engaged in robbery, burglary, sexual battery, kidnapping, attempted murder, criminal threats, false imprisonment, extortion, stalking, and intentional infliction of emotional distress and trespass. I mean, what did they do to this dude? They like tie him up and prod him with cattle prods or something and up his butt. I mean, I'm picturing a scenario where they steal his cattle prod, so there's the robbery, and then they try to take his guitar, the burglary, the sexual batteries. They tried to ram it up. My mind's just going crazy with all of the possible things that could have happened. I don't know why I'm laughing about this. Oh, that's a lot to happen in one day. Oh, he'll never be the same. Oh, but at least he has a priceless guitar, though, to show for all his trouble. Oh, shit. Oh. And then, last week I did not do a Shitpost Friday, so I kind of skipped some of the guitar news that had come out the previous week, and I wanted to kind of catch up with some of this stuff because there was some interesting stuff. One of the things I wanted to report on last week and didn't get a chance to was this story about Fender firms being raided in Great Britain. Apparently Fender, and it hasn't really been named, but them and Yamaha, Roland, Korg, and Casio, okay, so a bunch of keyboard manufacturers along with Fender, are being named in a possible price-fixing scheme in Great Britain. Now take this allegation with a grain of salt, and I'll tell you why. Because Great Britain apparently is not so much of a free country anymore. I hate to really say it, but it looks to me like all the news that I'm seeing is that, you know, Great Britain has a real bad habit of locking people up with no formal charges, and you know, trying to silence opposition to the government, and all kinds of just really shady things. And it seems to me this is possibly one of those scenarios, but I'm not going to jump to conclusions. But they have something over there called a Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA. And apparently this bureaucratic group can just go in to wherever they want, and they can demand, without a warrant, any papers that they deem necessary to whatever investigation they're carrying out. This is why we have something in the United States called the Fourth Amendment. You have privacy of your papers and effects. You can't just go in somewhere and demand on the spot things without any kind of allegation of wrongdoing, without any kind of formal allegation of wrongdoing, without going to a judge to get a warrant and show a judge that there is reason to believe that, you know, such and such crime has happened, and that we want to seek evidence in such and such exact place. We're not just going to go in willy-nilly and just start saying, we'll have that, and we'll have that, and this, and oh yeah, give me that stack of papers there on your desk. And you know, because this stuff might be important for this business to operate, and this is something that jackboots in government have done for time immemorial. They'll go into places they deem enemies of the state, and they'll try to suppress or silence, even without any formal complaints or formal charges of wrongdoing or criminality. They can actually stamp out someone without any of that stuff, and that's a dangerous fucking thing. And the people of Great Britain should be appalled that their government can go in anywhere without a warrant and obtain papers, documents, personal effects, whatever they deem necessary for their investigation without so much as a warrant. That's a very slippery slope, a very scary thing. I don't know how you have allowed this to happen in your country, but it is happening. It has happened. I don't know when Tommy Robinson started working at Fender, but apparently, I guess he's been there a little while or something, because Fender's in the crosshairs of the British government. So that's about all I have to say about that. You can read the article here. I'll put a link down in the description. There's really not much here except for, and it's really, none of this is conclusive. It just seems as if the Telegraph and some other publications have gotten this information somehow, I guess through sources. But it says, you know, it's not clear what triggered the investigations. One music insider said it may be linked to a complaint from Germany. That's a different country, especially after Brexit. So Britain is now enforcing laws or complaints from Germany? I don't understand. I guess Fender, I guess this is where their HQ is located for maybe all of Europe, but still, if they got a complaint from Germany, they need to file something in Germany, not go to Great Britain. If this is indeed the case, go to Great Britain and use these jackboots from this bureaucracy to kick down their doors and take stuff without a warrant, right? Wouldn't you say? I mean, you people who live in the U.S., we're used to this stuff. We're used to saying, oh, don't you need a warrant for that? You know, we're used to this whole, hey, I know my rights. You know, you can't come into my house without a warrant. You can't station troops. I don't have to offer you quarter. What are they going to start putting on red coats and demanding to be given quarter for the evening? I mean, come on, dudes. And you in Great Britain, get your shit together, because seriously, this is getting out of hand. It seems like every time I turn around, it's like, what? You can do that in Great Britain? I mean, Great Britain's supposed to be a bastion of freedom. It's, you know, the Magna Carta was signed in Great Britain. Of course, it was kind of signed under duress. But, you know, it was signed nonetheless. And it's kind of the foundation for Enlightenment thinking, for Age of Reason thinking, right? Thomas Jefferson took cues from English common law, you know? The framers of our Constitution in the United States, this is where we get a lot of this stuff, is from English common law and what's happening to England. It's really sad. I don't know. I mean, if they're guilty of something, then, you know, that's one thing. but being guilty of something and having jackboots from government kick down doors without warrants and take information and launch an investigation in this way, without following some sort of above board protocols that ensures that people have rights in your country, that's a completely different thing. That's why that's why stories like this just really piss me off, because it seems like that's not even the center of this story. It's like it just glossed over. It's like, oh yeah, this company or this bureaucracy, the CMA, can just carry out dawn raids on businesses without any real evidence and just take any documents they want. And they do this, I guess, so that staff cannot shred documents. This is their logic. But they couldn't shred documents anyway, even if you got a warrant. Okay, you call up a judge in the middle of the night. You say, look, we have this evidence, and this evidence. We have a complaint from this credible witness who has a video or who has some kind of backup, you know, to their story. You can't just willy-nilly make a, you know, and then they go in and then disrupt these people's business, take papers, and you could take all their papers and screw up their business for who knows how long. They can't, they have no idea what money's coming in or out. They don't, you know, their accounts receivable and payable are all screwed up because you've taken all their documentation and it's in some investigation locked up. You know, you could screw up somebody's business real hardcore by doing this with there being absolutely nothing that was done illegally. You see what I mean? This is why you don't give people like this kind of fucking power.
And that's all I have to say about that.
In a lighthearted note, I also ran across this about, I had no idea they had a guitar on the International Space Station. I had no idea. This is kind of a cool article. It talks about the psychological reasons for having a guitar aboard the International Space Station. And there's some video where you can see one of the cosmonauts or astronauts playing the guitar.
On solid fuel wires, turn the key and light the fires. We're leaving Earth today. This rocket's burning bright. We'll soon be out of sight and orbiting in space. It's just a wonderful joining of human invention and human challenge and creativity all together. To be able to write music taps right into the very soul of people. Some of the oldest relics we've found of human invention, way back when people lived in caves, were musical instruments. It's ancient and necessary to humanity. And also, when you think about music writing and about the creation process, it is something that is challenging and inspiring to everybody. Everybody can write a song. Everybody can sing a song. You know, there's only one best singer in the whole world. Everyone else is just a singer. So be a singer. Sing a song. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about it. Use the voice that you were given. Use the talents that you have. Write music and sing a song and sing it with other people.
But yeah, very cool. I mean, we all know as guitar players the positive health effects of playing guitar. Now it might screw up our hands, but it helps our heads, doesn't it? But apparently NASA is aware of the psychological benefits of having a guitar around, so that's kind of cool. Apparently they've got a couple things. It looks like on one of the trips they took a second guitar here, and they've got something like a little can for a drum, and they've got whistles and pan flutes. So there's a whole little orchestra on the International Space Station, which is kind of cool. I've always been kind of a space buff. Okay, this brings us to viewer mail. I've gotten some viewer mail in the past week or two, and thought I would share with you guys. I always like to share viewer mail because, for one thing, I never know what I'm going to get, and sometimes I'm pretty surprised, and makes for good videos. And also, I like to give credit where credit's due. If people have been cool and sent me things, you know, I like to kind of acknowledge it and show them that I received what they were sending. And oh wow, okay, I remember this now. There was a gentleman who contacted me who has a strap company. Now, he doesn't do woven straps like my sponsor does, so I agreed to let him send me something. He does leather goods, and he specializes in leather goods, leather straps. So I thought it would be cool to see what he's up to. And man, he's got some cool stuff here. Ethos straps. And this is just holding his cards. That's cool. It's like a business card holder slash credit card holder thing. So that's pretty neat. I don't know if this is an official product or if he just knocked this up for promotion, but it's pretty cool. Wow. Very nicely embossed. Ethos straps. He apparently has a pretty good sewing machine too. This sewing into leather like this is a difficult thing. That's why you don't get a lot of. You have to have a really good sewing machine. I know this from my wife being a seamstress. I guess I'm kind of a sewing geek now. Hang on, let me get some more light over here. But yeah, I know this stuff isn't easy to make. And very nice indeed. This looks like a window sticker, something like that. That's cool. There's a keychain. Very nice stuff, man. Okay, he's embossed his logo here as well. Man, I love the smell. I wish you guys could smell this. I love the smell. There's nothing like the smell of fresh leather. There's nothing at all like it in the world. You walk into a leather shop or a leather maker's shop, and it's just, man, that's the best smell ever. Love that. That's cool. Yeah, let's see what we got going here. Oh, he sent me some leather conditioner as well. Here, that's cool. Bickmore 4 leather conditioner. I don't think this is his product, but this is what he has sent me. Nice. I think I already have a bottle of leather conditioner somewhere. I was just doing my shoes the other day because they're kind of scuffed up and stuff and starting to get a little crackiness in them, and so anytime you get leather start to look like it's dried out, go ahead and condition your leather because it'll last you a lifetime if you do. Man, this is really nice. I've got to get closer. There we go. Really nicely embossed logo. Ethos straps. Wow. You can always tell too, really high quality leather. Like this little piece of leather right here. That is that's from a young specimen probably. That's like fawn kind of leather right there. Or not, maybe not fawn, but calf leather. Because the grain is it's just so smooth. But man, this is a very nice package he has put together here, and I appreciate it very much. Alright, well here's the name of his company on a guitar. Well, he's got a guitar pick and everything. So there's his website and phone number if you guys are interested in something like this. But this looks like something that would be a very nice gift as well. This is, let's see, he's got all your care instructions here, which is nice. Let's see. Okay, so he recommends this leather conditioner. Wow. Oh, this is something. Look at that. It's America themed. That's cool. Stars and stripes. Wow, man. You guys know how into straps I am. I've got a few leather straps. I don't have a lot of them. What I usually collect are the woven straps. But this is a very nice strap, adjustable, nicely put together, and this is 100% genuine leather. There's no doubt about it. This is the good stuff. It's It's very well stitched. Yeah, this is just a nicely made strap. And what, he's made these pieces right here, this thing just to hold the strap in a circle for shipping. That's pretty neat. I'm gonna have to find another use for this. Well, that's just great. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Bobby McAdoo is who sent me this. Bobby, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate this. It's a very lovely strap, very well made. I encourage you guys to go check them out if you're into leather straps, leather goods in general. This has got that feeling, man. It's nicely made, nicely padded as well. And this is one of the wider straps too, so if you have, you know, shoulder or back problems, this might help you spread the load of your heavy Les Paul also. So yeah, thanks again. I really appreciate that. I was just noticing this as I was putting this card back up. I guess he does boots as well. So that's kind of cool. You can get yourself a matching set of boots with your strap. Very nice. Made in Oklahoma, here in the good old US of A. Very cool. I love to support these small US makers like this, man. Like this guy and like my sponsor, Native Goods. They're out of New Mexico. Just some of the best stuff you will ever lay hands on is made right here in the USA, and a lot of people don't know anything about. This is the first time I'd ever heard of his company, and very pleasantly surprised. So I appreciate that, Bobby. Thank you. This is a package that comes to me. This is from my new friend over at Forever Pick. As you guys know, I'm not really much of a pick guy. I do use picks sometimes, but mainly I grow my fingernails and I pick with my fingers a lot. But every now and then I will pick up picks because, you know, if you're flat picking bluegrass or something like that, you have to have a pick. And also if you're doing any kind of heavy metal, you know, I'll usually pick up a pick for that style as well. What this guy does is he actually makes picks that he claims will improve the tone, not just the picking experience, but also the tone of your guitar. So he makes picks out of exotic materials like ebony. Let's see here. And Purple Heart. Let's see, he's given me a couple of different ones. Let's see, test, okay, this one is ebony stiff. Okay, so if you guys are into experimenting with different kinds of picks and different pick materials, this might be another one for you to try. Woodtoptone.com, or you can just Google Forever Pick and find them that way. But this is, let's see, again, this is ebony. I'm kind of loath to detach these from the cards because that's probably the only way I'll figure out which is which. I should know Purple Heart though. Yeah, it's got a purple tone tint to it. Okay, ebony. Now this is going to be laminated because otherwise it probably wouldn't be strong enough to withstand a whole lot of abuse. I would imagine. I don't know, but it's a good feeling pick. But he claims actually for acoustic guitars that this will improve the tone of the guitar, and the way he described it to me is it will excite more of the what did he say? The tone centers on the top of the guitar is the way he described it. Now I don't know whether that's true or not. In my experience, you know, picks. The materials do make a difference in the attack sound to my ear. For instance, I use stuff like the regular Tortex, and then you go to like a more of a generic plastic, and I've used some other things as well, and it does tend to make a difference in the attack. So I'm actually kind of curious now. I've got to get a guitar. Let me get a guitar and we'll come back to this. Okay, let's see. Let me get some of my normal picks out here. I've got. It's funny. I have a pretty large pick collection. A lot of different stuff in here. This is just stuff where some of this stuff is probably from the time I worked at the music store. You know, people would come in and kind of leave their picks laying around, stuff like that, or I would find picks, or I've actually had, you know, packages of picks that were open and we couldn't sell them or whatever, so I would set those aside, and I've just got a lot of them from various places. So it's weird because I don't, you know, again, I don't use picks very much, so it's kind of easy to collect them. And some of these also are from a time when I had thought about actually opening my own music store when I left the other one, and I ordered a bunch of stuff, a bunch of stock. So some of this is from that as well, where I ordered some stock, and I'm trying to see if I can find one of my favorite picks. I don't know if I have any of those left. It is the Dunlop, I believe it's Dunlop who made those. Dunlop Utex, I think is what they call it. It's a really hard material. It's like a hard plasticky material. I'm trying to see if I have any of those left, because if I do, I wanted to try to compare it with that, because that was sort of my favorite pick when I used picks. That was the one pick that sort of jumped out at me and said, I'm different enough to, you know, to matter. But what I'll do here, I'll just set aside a few different things, and we'll kind of test a few different things here. Now, he did ask me before he sent these, which, you know, what style of pick I use, whether heavy, medium, whatever. And I told him I typically will use, if I'm flat picking something, I'll use a heavier pick. Yeah, this is a Fender USA 1.21 millimeter extra heavy, so let's try that one against this ebony stiff pick, because this looks like it's about the same sort of thickness. Let me bring this microphone down just a hair so you can actually hear the differences a little better. Okay, so the Fender pick. Let's listen to the Fender 1.21 millimeter. Okay, now the ebony. Okay, let's try something like let's go with one of the yellow 0.69 millimeter. This is a Diodario. Let's try this. Okay, now back to the ebony. Now this is a heavier pick than that, so. Yeah, that's a bad apples to apples comparison, really, because you're always going to get a tinnier tone or a brighter tone with a thinner pick. That we've established in past videos. Let's go with one of the green ones. The green ones are usually thicker. 0.033 inch on this D'Addario. I forget what they are, and they're like a 0.79 or 0.83, something like that. One of the things I spoke to this gentleman about on the phone whenever we were talking about his picks, I was just wondering whether they would hold up, because it seems to me like, you know, something like this that's wooden would be very, brittle, or be difficult to keep from breaking it. That was my main concern. But it doesn't seem to me as if this is not a flimsy material. This isn't something that's going to be real easy to break. It's like I said, it's laminated. You can tell it's laminated because you have two different grain patterns from one side to the other. You can't really see the edge of the lamination, but it is definitely laminated, which is good because you want that for strength. But so that will add to the longevity of the pick. That was one of my concerns whenever I was talking to him about it. Because he asked me my honest opinion. I said, well, honestly, I really don't ever use a pick, I'm just not much of a pick guy. I use my fingers a lot, and I do use it some, on bluegrassy kind of stuff. And stuff like that. And especially if you get into metal and stuff, use the pick. But okay, so there is the ebony one, and I definitely tell a difference between that, say that, and this. Now again, this is a thinner pick though than this one. Probably the closest that I'm seeing is like a 1. If you get the stiff ones, is like a 1.21. So this is actually thicker than I would normally use. I would normally use like a 0.83 or whatever the green ones typically are. That one is about the right feel for me. But this is the best comparison tone-wise or thickness-wise between plastic and that ebony. definitely a brighter tone. I'm kind of surprised. I really am. I did not expect it to be a brighter tone. Just didn't expect that. I'm curious if there's any difference whatsoever between really because these should be the same thickness. He's calling this one, this is Purple Heart Stiff. Alright. So let's check this out. Purple Heart Stiff. Let's do Purple Heart Stiff versus Plastic versus Ebony. Alright, so here's Purple Heart. Okay, that's definitely a different tone than the Ebony. Wow, that's kind of like, that's interesting because I wouldn't have expected it to be that bright. I mean, listen to the brightness of it. That's surprising. Now let's go back to actually, that might be even though this says Purple Heart Stiff, that might actually be a little bit of a thinner pick. It definitely is, I would say. Yeah, that's a thinner pick than the Ebony. But what I was going to say about the gentleman who makes these picks, he actually does a podcast, and I was a guest on his podcast the other day about Dan Electro stuff. He interviewed the son of Nat Daniel from Dan Electro and invited me on the podcast to talk about their amps. So this is where I know the guy from, and he actually in his past he worked at Hamer in the custom shop, the USA custom shop at Hamer, making some of the Rick Nielsen guitars and stuff like that. But this is what he's doing now, these picks, Forever Pick. And I'm actually really surprised. I mean, I go into things like this really skeptical. I'll be honest. He said that's fine, be as skeptical. And I told him, I was straight up with him. I was like, man, I'm usually skeptical of this kind of stuff, like claims as far as tone. I said, I'll put it through its paces, though, if you want to send me something. I said, I'm going to be brutal, though. I mean, I'm not trying to deceive an audience for the price of 3 picks. That's what I told him. He's like, yeah, it's fine. He's like, that's cool. Just put it through its paces, test it against your other picks and stuff. That's all I ask, and so that's what I'm doing. Let's see. This one is Rock Maple Core. Interesting. Okay, so we've got Rock Maple Core, and it looks like this. It's not as pretty as the other ones. It just looks like it actually looks like the boxwood or something from your hobby shop, but I'll take his word for it that it's maple. So let's see what this sounds like. That might be a third sound altogether. Plastic. Back to Rock Maple. So yeah, very surprising results there, I would have to say. That's not what I expected. I expected this to be one of those situations where I got something and I was skeptical at the outset, admittedly, and I was thinking, well, this isn't going to make a hill of beans difference. You know, it might make a slight difference, but it's not going to be anything I'll care about. But this definitely did make a difference, I have to say. These picks sound different than the plastic ones of similar size for sure. Now, you know, whatever your preference is, that remains to be seen. I don't know how much he's charging for these. You'll have to go to his website to see, I guess. But yeah, Forever Pick. Go Google them and check them out. I'll put links down in the description and so forth. Definitely interesting. I did not expect that. Yeah, thanks, Rob. I appreciate you sending me those. All right, we got one more thing that was sent to me. This is in an Amazon Prime package, so I think this is probably a new product. And I think I might know what it is, and yep, sure enough. Awesome. So Lyle Merrill contacted me the other day. I appreciate this very much, Lyle. After he saw the video where I was struggling to get the little E-clip or C-clip out of that record player, and I was using I don't know what all. I think I finally got it out with a couple of screwdrivers, like pushing it in opposite directions, and it did work. And I've always kind of gotten by like that. And I guess never really justified the expense, you know, for buying an extra tool and all that kind of stuff. But he said, man, you really need one of these. I'm going to get you one. Here you go. So he has sent me one of these, man. This is cool. This is a combination internal external snap ring pliers set. So this will do several different sizes, actually, and different angles. Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. I definitely did need this tool. It's something I've been putting off getting. You know, there are certain tools that I could use that I don't pick up for myself. It's one of those things like, you know, you always get for Christmas the stuff that you really needed for a long time. But, you know, it took someone else, like, seeing what you needed to actually just go get it for you. And this is one of those instances. And I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, Lyle. And thanks to everybody who sent me stuff this week. This has been an awesome one, man. Between the strap and these crazy picks that I can't believe make a difference and actually do make a difference. And the snap ring pliers. Yeah, I'm going to get some good use out of this stuff. And sure do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. Also want to take just a minute to acknowledge some people who have contributed to my PayPal, who have sent tips via PayPal. I include my PayPal address down in the description of all my videos, and I just kind of hide it there. And if anybody goes looking and they feel the need to send me something, you know, I'm not going to turn it down. And I don't really promote it on all my videos like I probably should, because it really does help when you guys send me stuff like that. It keeps the channel going. It makes it easier for me to justify doing this instead of going back to doing what I was doing before, which is buying and selling more guitars. But I wanted to acknowledge a couple people who sent me some things. Anders, I hope I'm saying this right, Anders Franzen has sent me $50 via PayPal, which is super cool. Thanks a lot, Anders, man. That really helps. That's amazing. And he says, thank you for all your excellent YouTube content. And again, you know, I really couldn't do it without some of these contributions helping me out. Rab Feeney, who is a constant companion in the comments, who sends me emails a lot and gives me commentary, and I appreciate it, Rab. He also sent me $27.72. I think that's what it translated to after the currency exchange. So I appreciate that, Rab. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Also, Kirk Mordecki, who sent a $5 contribution. Appreciate that. He said, your videos are worth paying for. Keep it up. I really appreciate that, man. Comments like that, and for even somebody to chip in any kind of money at all, let alone, you know, $5 or $50 or something, it's just, it's a touching thing. And then you know, to hear that people actually appreciate and watch these videos and get a lot out of them and stuff, it's just, it's really humbling. You know, I kind of take it I kind of take it in a weird way sometimes. I feel like you guys can't even see me. That's really stupid. I feel like a fish in a bowl, you know, like I'm detached from everybody. Sometimes I don't really get to hear or see what everybody's thinking about the things. I read comments and I try to respond to all the comments that I can. Here lately I haven't been able to as much because just home life and stuff has been keeping me from getting into it as much as I would like. But it's really touching to hear some of these some of the comments, and for people to send me things like this. And here's another one. This is from Rob from Goodwill, website trouble.com. Let's chat. I have an office in Middletown. Well, that's cool because I'm in Middletown. Love the channel. I've heard of you. Well, interesting. Website trouble.com. He sent a $5 contribution, and I appreciate that, Rob, very much. Thank you. And again, you know, as I was saying before, you know, it's really easy to look at a video that I've made and spend a lot of time on and stuff, and you know, it might only get like 3,000 or 4,000 hits or something, and I might right now, you know, I would tend to see that as a failure or something because it doesn't have very many hits. But you know, I forget to think about it in terms of the individuals. You guys that watch these videos and what you get out of them, and sometimes, you know, some of the things that you guys respond to me and you send to me via email, and I can't respond to every email, and I'm sorry for that. I really do try, but it gets so overwhelming. I really need an intern because I get a lot of emails, a lot of frankly fan mail, you know, from you guys, and it's touching. And I would love to respond to each and every one and give it the time it deserves and stuff, and sometimes I can't do that, but you know, it's amazing to hear some of the about some of the reasons you guys watch the channel, some of the hurdles that you're facing in your own lives. You know, I've had people, you know, people tell me things like they've been injured and they can't get around anymore. Or they can't even play guitar anymore a lot of times, and this channel gives them a reason to get up in the morning. You know, just, I mean, profound stuff like this that I get, and it's really touching, and it's almost overwhelming sometimes, you know, because I feel the responsibility. You know, it's like to keep going and keep pushing and making better content and stuff, and sometimes I feel like I've fallen short, you know, like the content's going backwards and I'm going backwards and I suck and I'm no good anymore, and you know, you get all these little bouts of self-doubt and things that creep in, and these comments and the contributions and the people who send me things, and you know, all the comments down the comments section, the words of encouragement from everybody, it's just, it means way more than you'll ever know to me. I can't respond to each one of you all the time. I do try, but just know that all your comments, all the things you send me, the words of encouragement, it means a lot to me. You know, it's what keeps me going. It really is, and I really and truly appreciate it. So I just wanted to take a minute to thank you guys for that. Okay, as a bonus for this week's Shitpost Friday, and I may do this once a week. I'm not really sure quite yet what I'm going to do, but I have a second channel. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. I've had it for a while. I've kind of been kicking it around, and here and there I've kind of mentioned it and sort of promoted it, but not really. There's little things I like to talk about sometimes that don't really justify a full video on this GUITOLOGIST channel. So I have made a GUITOLOGIST 2 channel. I will link down the description and also in a comment. I would like for you guys to all please go and subscribe to that, as many of you as you possibly can. I don't get paid for anything I put over there until I get like 1,000 subscribers, and I'm still like 500 away or something, or 400 away. So if you guys don't mind, I'd like to get past the 1,000 subscriber threshold as soon as possible, so at least I could start making something on that channel if I do decide to throw things over there. And plus, you guys will get more content, a wider variety of content, because I can't really, especially since I've taken on the sponsorship thing, I can't necessarily put a bunch of videos that I don't expect to do very well on this channel, because the way the algorithm works, it's hard to explain. The way the algorithm works is if I start producing stuff on this channel that has nothing to do with guitars, it doesn't have the same keywords in it that tends to draw viewers to this channel. The algorithm will see it as something that YouTube should not promote. so it will end up getting a lot less hits. Like if you notice the series that I just did on the hi-fi stereo restoration, because that was a hi-fi restoration and not a, say, a guitar amp restoration or a guitar conversion or something like that, it lacked some of the keywords that would have actually shown more of you guys that particular video in your suggested videos, and perhaps drawn you in to watch it. So YouTube punishes that sort of thing. So what I want to do is still make some of the other content I used to make, like, with hi-fis and with turntables and going to Goodwill and shopping for this or that, or, just doing other repairs. Like the other day I went out to repair my air conditioning unit because it had gone down, and it would have actually made an interesting video. I did not video it because I figured, well, where am I going to publish that? And I forgot about my second channel. So that would have been something I would have probably thrown over onto my second channel. So if you guys like to see just weird things, if you want to see me fix things around the house, or if you want to see me talk about other things other than necessarily guitar all the time, please go subscribe to that channel, because that'll really help me out.